Okay, so we are talking about how to find the volume of a pyramid today. Hopefully you just watched a video showing why this formula in the box here has a 1/3 in it, related to the rectangular prism that would not have a 1/3 in it. So with this particular pyramid, it has a rectangle for the base. So let's draw the base separate in this picture. So the base of this pyramid is a rectangle, and it shows that it has length and width. And since our formula says we have to find the area of the base, we have to remember that the area for a rectangle would be length times width. So when we write our volume formula, it could really look like volume equals 1/3, and then instead of writing area of the base, we could write length times width, and then we have to also multiply by the height on the end, which it shows in our formula. So this will be the formula we can use for rectangular pyramids when they have a rectangle as the base. So we have an example below that is a rectangular pyramid. And so I need to label what these measurements are first. So I'm going to label that 13 centimeters is the length, 6 centimeters is the width, and the height is 14 centimeters. Now I'll write down my formula. Volume equals 1/3, and since it's rectangular, the area of the base, I can write length times width, and then I have to multiply by height. So now I just need to put each number in where it goes. So volume equals 1/3, and then I'll use parentheses. The length was 13, the width was 6, and the height was 14. Now I can use my calculator. I'm going to use my calculator to do the length times width times height first. So it'll still say 1/3, but then 13 times 6 times 14 is 1092. And then in my calculator, I'm going to type in 1/3 times 1092, and I type that into my calculator like this. I would do a parenthesis, 1 divided by 3, and then a parenthesis for the 1/3, and then multiplication button, 1092. And my calculator will tell me that the volume should be 364. My units would be centimeters cubed. And that's how we would find the volume for that rectangular pyramid. On the back we have a word problem. Let's read it together. The Pyramid of Giza in Egypt has a volume of 126,000 cubic meters. So I'm going to label that this number is the volume, or V. The bottom is a square, and one of the side lengths is 120 meters. So the bottom of this pyramid is a square this time. What is the height of the pyramid? So they're asking me to find the height, or find H. I know that this has a square for the bottom, so I'm going to draw a pyramid with a square for the bottom. So here's the base, a square. The way I'll make it a pyramid is I'll just pick a dot, and I'll pull all 4 corners of the square up to that dot. So now it looks like a pyramid with a square on the bottom. So they said that the square, one of the side lengths is 120 meters. And we know since it's a square that it means everything is 120 meters. So that would mean that the length of the base and the width of the base are both 120. So if I'm using my volume formula, and I apologize because I did not leave you a lot of room, so write really small for me. My volume formula is 1/3 length times width times height. They actually told me the answer for volume, so I need to write that number where V is, 126,000, 3 zeros, equals 1/3. The length they said is 120. The width they said is 120, and I do not know what the height is. So the way that I would do this problem is I would start multiplying things together on the right side. Over here by H, I'm going to start multiplying some of these together to make it look a little bit less complicated on that side. So if I do 120 times 120, then this side will still be the same, and it'll say 1/3, but then my answer for 120 times 120 is 14,400, and there's still an H. Now I'm going to multiply that times 1/3 to make that right side look even better. And when I do 1/3 times 14,400, gives me 4,800, and still an H. And now to get H by itself, I need to get rid of 4,800, and since it's multiplied, I need to do the opposite, so I need to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4,800 so that those can cancel out, turn into 1, and H will be 2.625 is what my calculator told me. We're used to rounding to the nearest tenth, so I'll write that it's 2.6, and my units have been meters. So that would be my answer to find the height for that word problem. Now we're going to move on to triangular pyramids. So this is another pyramid, and my picture copied very funny, but I think you can see it with me. But the base this time is a triangle. So where my volume formula says I have to find the area of the base, I don't get to do length times width anymore, because that's not how you find the area of a triangle. So I drew another picture for what the base of the pyramid looks like, this triangle to the right over here. And with triangles, we label the bottom as the base, and we have to label the height of the triangle for the bottom, just for the base. And our area, the way that we find area for a triangle, is we do the base times the height divided by 2. No more length times width. With a triangular base, you have to find the area of the triangle, base times height over 2. Which means our volume formula is going to say 1/3, and then for area of the base, it's going to say that base times height divided by 2, then times the H, which is the H over here from the actual pyramid, how tall the pyramid is. So there's 2 different H's, which makes it confusing. So stay with me when we do this next example. So the example down here has a triangle for the base, and I'm going to draw that triangle separately so I can see a picture of what the base looks like. So it kind of looked like that as best I could. That's the base triangle. There was a right angle down here. This side it says is 14, and this side it says is 8. So this side over here looks like the bottom of my triangle. So I'm going to label 14 as the base of the triangle, and 8 is how tall that triangle is, so 8 is the height. So the area for this triangle, base times height over 2, if I plug in my numbers, I'm going to get 14 times 8 divided by 2. And that area, when I do that on my calculator, is going to give me 56. So when I do my volume formula, I can put 56 in the area for the base spot. So let's write down that volume formula from just above. 1/3 the base times the height divided by 2, and then times the height of the pyramid, which is over here, 17, for how tall the pyramid is. So I can rewrite this and say 1/3, and we found the area of the base triangle already. It was 56, and the height of the pyramid is 17. So I'm going to do 56 times 17 next and get 952. Then I have to multiply that times 1/3, and it looks like my volume for this triangular pyramid will be 317.3. They didn't tell me units, so I'm just going to write units cubed for my answer for the triangular pyramid. It's different than the rectangle because our area for the base is a different formula.